Hi, I'm Ryan Neal from the Vulgar Skill. Here we're going to be doing Chapter 19 of Godinho Single Sword. We're going to be discussing in this instance our first instance of ripping and continuing to build off of lowering the sword. So Godinho doesn't just have you lower the sword for action. Sometimes he has invitations and similar actions where I'll like invite an attack, the vulgar technique of Yamar to invite. And this is sort of a variant on that, or it could be someone's trying to take advantage of you lowering the sword for an action. Either way, this is how we deal with people who try to thrust into our action. So I'm going to get Eric, my roommate here. This is where we're going to be introduced in this video series to the concept of ripping. Here, I lower the sword because he gives that thrust. I raise the sword, like so, and after beating his sword, I give a tajo, which goes from shoulder to knee. So here, and go through. So it's sort of inviting, feet, cut, and ending in a guard. Just so I could show you from the front what I'm doing here, I am lifting the sword violently. I put in a little bit of a step, or if he's close enough, you don't even need to step. I'm cutting with the hips in engagement through the body. One more time, Eric gives that thrust. I cut Eric. Now, there is a counter that Godinho extrapolates on here. So if Eric wants to rip me, like he lowers, and I give that thrust, and he rips, I raise my quillins, get behind my sword, and move the body behind the sword as much as possible, and thrust nails up. So you narrow and profile your body. I recommend taking the left foot, moving it behind the right, to get behind the sword as much as possible, quillins high, and thrust to the face. So I'm going to, Eric lowers, I give that thrust, he beats, I go off to the side. And see, the goal here should be to thrust and hit them. That way there's some disruption. Because note there's a lot of power here. That's another reason we keep the sword high. That's why we profile the body. If we do this like halfway, go gently because I'm not wearing a mask. So he lowers, I go. If I do this halfway, this is going to happen. You need to keep it high, solid, and make the body as small as possible. And that's our first rip. You can rip either way, and we'll talk more about these ripping counters in future videos, but that's something you can work and play with. One thing I like about ripping is that it's harder to disengage around. If Eric gives me a thrust and I try to parry ordinarily, he can always just sort of cavazione and hit me here. If I rip, cavazione, it beats it. It will always find the sword. So if I'm ripping and like he cavaziones, it will always find the sword because I'm going in the same path. And it gives me the tempo, at least the beat. Even if he makes it around, I'm still in charge. I've still got the tempo. So I hope you very much enjoy that. Add it to your fencing. It's a great counter to true school fencing, like true Spanish school and people who fight extended. And enjoy. Thank you very much.